Welcome to ECNTRADE Daily Video. Before we begin, it should be noted that any advice is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Hello everyone, my name is Rob Clayton and thank you for joining me. Well, as the Australian dollar marches higher, so does the US dollar, but didn't quite clear the previous high of 92.98. We still need to see the handle of 93 cleared to open the pathway towards 93.65.85. Still, from the technical point for the Australian dollar, we have broken above the midway point of 50 on the RSI. Keep an eye on this MACD. It is assessed that the candles are not fully in terms of supporting a bullish or restructuring the trend back to a stronger upside rise, and therefore may find getting into a bit of trouble around 76.90.95 with a 60-day moving average above, seen around 77.28. It is from the assessment from the intraday and also from the shorter time frame is that the market's likely to reject that level around 76.90 and may see a retest towards the bottom side of the bottom base that's holding as a short term, I believe, bullish foundations around 75.85. Looking at the weekly euro, the market has still got room to reach its target of 116. I would say that presently the market is a little bit jitterish due to the fact that the dollar is still showing a relatively bullish sentiment. Therefore, with the expected non-farm payroll numbers to be greater than what forecast, could see a stronger US dollar and a weaker euro and look towards its objective. And I'm still calling at this stage at 116 figure 40. Dollar yen has pushed higher and surprisingly now closes above that level of 109.70.80 or pretty much above 110 now. I believe the market has, in terms of putting a squeeze into play here, and I'd rather sit out for the moment to see how this squeeze play comes on or unfolds. Because if we are looking for a further rise, we could be looking at 111.5, as most of the assessment that yen safe haven is really lacking demand, and it's more to the fact that people are turning their view back on the US dollar. Still, I will be neutral for the next 12 hours, but I would say that the market, or 24 to stretch it that far. Let's see if the market can continue this stretch. We are extremely overbought and the ADX is overheating, but nevertheless has restored its bullish sentiment. So there is still room for a further climb. The pound took a challenge to the upside of the breakdown level of 138.15, and as we can see was a rejection. Did the bulls bite off too much they can chew? Well, I'd say at the moment the negative sentiment is holding as we hold underneath the RSI midway point. So therefore could see the slide come back towards 135.60 as a potential target. If so, then we should back away from this 152.5 level seen for sterling yen and look back to the trend line, which is somewhere around 149. Still, there's a bit of conflicting pattern here. There's the RSI climbs and the MACD remains underneath the zero axis. In light of the long-legged doji, I say the market's a little bit apprehensive or a bit hesitant to take the challenge higher. So if we do see the pound break back to the downside, then that leg should see a fall towards this trend line, as I mentioned, around 149. Overnight, gold took out the level of 1,716 and now presently holds towards the bottom side of the range of around 1,680, with the technicals breaking down and clearly nearly marrying up to this pattern, should reach its objective as around that level of 1,618. But the dollar strengthening also has put further weight on the yellow precious metal. The outlook for oil, well, it's a little bit mixed as they finally removed the boat that was lodged overseas to prevent any passageway for the oil. And the market is now finding a little bit of determination in whether the 61.5 break is true or not. In light of the pattern, I still feel the risk is to the downside. I'm not turning yet, even though the technicals have somewhat broken to the RSI above the 50 level, but I would say that the MACD could actually still fall, and so can prices back to $57 a barrel. Well, that wraps it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, look out for the intraday poll. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day.